Hello, Simone. So this is a summary of the session we had on December 12th, and we mostly talked about Christmas and the Christmas gift. Christmas can be written like Xmas, okay? Xmas, Christmas. People, the closer we get to Christmas, people are getting more and more impatient the closer they get to Christmas. So the closer we get to Christmas, the more impatient people get. You told me about, the hand lotion you are planning on offering on Christmas, and I told you about the different do-it-yourself things you can make. Can be chocolate, clothes, furniture, all this stuff. And this is funny because it's a very big thing in America, in Canada as well. Many people like to make things themselves. In Mexico, it's also acceptable, but it's considered low class. Okay. In America, it's considered like you are making it from your heart, from the bottom of your heart. So it's very sentimental. Okay, but many people they don't really appreciate that, and I tend to I tend to be a tiny bit to have the masculine mind when it comes down to dealing with people, especially when I don't like them. Is I give something cheap, or I make a CD or a DVD with different books or different things like that. I like the person. When I give this kind of things, it's because I don't have time, or I like the person, I appreciate the person. If I, sorry, if I really appreciate the person, I can hand make things. To hand make, so when you do it yourself, okay, you do it with your hands. It was handmade. It's a past participle. It was handmade. Okay. So depending on where you live, the do-it-yourself thing can be appreciated, or can be neglected. And I don't like when people buy me clothes. I just don't like that. I think it's personal. A scarf, I've been receiving a scarf every year from my mother-in-law and her daughter. So I hope this year they're gonna understand that I never wear their scarves and I don't like them. I don't like this kind of gifts. And if they don't understand that, it means I don't know. Maybe there is a problem with them. But anyway, it's a love-hate relationship between them and me. You know, family-in-law is almost like that. Nike, if you buy like brands, Nike, Adidas, Reebok, or stuff like that, you can have more you can have more appreciation, meaning people will love you. It's so funny. So famous brand, okay. I like to give gift cards. That's why people are not disappointed. They buy whatever they want. End of the story, and don't bother me with, oh, you like it, you don't like it. I like receiving that. I think it's more productive to me. But people don't understand that this is what I want, and they feel like they cannot show the value of the gift. They have to cheat. They have to lie, and I don't like this kind of attitude. I've been in business for too long, Simone, and I tend to have a different mind than the politically correct or the diplomatic mind. So I just don't waste my time. Don't take it personally. To take something personally, it's like you're focusing on yourself. There is a public speaker, I forgot his name. He's very famous in America. He's an American guy. And he said, most of the time when you're disappointed, it's because you are thinking about you all the time. And how much you lost when you had an agreement with somebody, and it's always you. And if you were stopping thinking about yourself, maybe you will feel better. And, I agree and I disagree. It can be true. But at the same time, you have so many selfish people out there. So I tend to clean up my world. It's like you are trying to steal from me. Screw you. End of the story. So anyway, I like to make chocolate truffles. To make them myself because it's natural, no preservatives, no conservatives, nothing bad. So this is good. And It's nothing exceptional, but it's a DIY chocolate. A DIY chocolate is a do-it-yourself chocolate. Okay. There are many workshops in Canada, in America, where you can learn how to make chocolate pies and everything, or furniture, or to learn how to paint, all this kind of stuff. It's very nice. It's mostly, you can find them in different centers, like, I don't know, YMCA centers, especially in America, or, at the library. And it can be free or almost free. It's not that expensive, the workshop. Um, we talked about the Enron scandal. They were implicated in the shutdown of, it's like an electric central in somewhere in California, and they had, you know, they went bankrupt, so they stopped. They're no longer alive. I mean, probably they've been bought out by somebody else. But Enron is related to a very big scandal in America. And probably I was talking about that because sometimes we can have the electricity can be on and off. It's not as extreme. It's not as extreme as in Mexico because I know I've lived there and it can be extreme sometimes. But it can happen in America. We can have shutdowns, electricity shutdowns, or can have different problems in Canada because of the cold. Okay. This morning I had an internet problem. It's getting cold, not that cold, but it's getting cold. It's getting there, and I'm afraid when it's gonna be probably January, February, when it will be very, very cold, and I'm afraid that my connection may not survive. So I don't know if the fiber optic is better. I don't know. I have no idea how to call my internet provider. So RAM, cruise control. As a cruise control is where you don't have to, you set your car to a specific speed limit. It's not gonna go above, it's not gonna go lower than that. And but you still have to be aware. It's just like when you drive on highways and it's gonna be repetitive, the same speed limit, for a while, you can just turn on your speed control. Corolla, yeah, the car name, car brand. And we talked about different prices, 40,000 to 60,000. That can be also the price in America. That's why normally people they buy used car. My Jeep, it's an old Jeep. It's used. I spent $5,000 on it. I cannot afford. After the big move, I cannot just like put on the table 60,000. It's impossible. You can pay every month, but right now I can't. I have to wait. Plus, thank you, motorcycle. Plus, we are trying to buy a house. We're gonna save for like the next 3 years and try to see if we can buy a house. So that way we don't have to pay rent. We invested on the we renovated this house, and the current landlord is it's like an exchange. We traded, you know, renovating the house with the rent. So we don't have to spend a rent for 3 years now. So because we traded, we spent so much money on renovating this house, and we want to make sure we have a good floor. The heating system is good, the boiler is good, etc., etc. So she was a bit, you know, she was a bit negative at first, the landlord, and after we said, look, that's your house, so it's not like we're gonna buy it. You don't want to sell it anyway, so it's gonna be your house, no matter what. And it's improved. You didn't, most of the landlords they don't want to improve their houses. They just let people live in and they get the rent and end of the story. But we are clean people and we are picky people. My husband and I, and I don't want to get sick because I live in a bad house or dirty house. It's not just dirty, but it's just the walls. It can be moldy. You can have different, you know, humidity issue. Highways, you cannot really show too much. Yeah, you cannot really show too much your wealth. WEALTH. How much money you have, basically, or your assets. Because in Brazil it can be dangerous. I know in Mexico it's dangerous. Um, In America, it's a different story. Depends where you live. If you live in a poor neighborhood, of course, don't show off anything. And if you live in a rich neighborhood and you're poor, people may be suspicious at you. So, it depends where you live. Holes, there are many holes on the ground, on the streets. And having an insurance is very important anywhere. But I know in some countries it's not mandatory. Mandatory is MAN, so man, DATORY, mandatory, meaning it's an obligation. It is not an obligation in some countries. Reliable is like when, if you are reliable, I can rely on you, meaning I can trust you, okay? To trust someone is to rely on someone. To be reliable is to be trustworthy, okay? Car insurance, can you rely? Are they reliable? Most of the time, no. To work for, be careful of this proposition, to work for someone, to work for a bank, to work for a company, okay, or to work for the government. You can also work for Google or at Google, okay. To have a nervous breakdown is like to go nuts, la la la. You work too much. You're gonna have a, if you work too much and you don't sleep enough, you're gonna have a nervous breakdown. So be careful, okay. Other people, the priorities are different. When you have a family, well, you can say, I want to have a family, I want to start a family, okay? We talked about economy or economics, the economy or economics, and for the five past decades or 50 years ago, you said they reduced the salaries, okay? And there's a guy trying to sell something on the street. To keep track of all the money they owe you. Actually, what we said, I didn't write down everything, but right now, people working for the government, not only the government is not allowing to accept new people, they don't offer new jobs, and they don't even pay the salary. So the government is in really deep shit. Sorry to talk like that, but I think this is a reality. So you have to keep track of all the money they owe you, okay? And it's important because, yeah, you still have to pay your bills, to pay different things. And it seems like it's a one-way system right now, okay? Bills, executive, the legislative, judicial, those are the three different powers. This is how you can tell when a power is a democracy or not. He's arrested, or he arrested. He was sent to jail. He went to jail. So he went to jail. He came back, but he was sent to jail like yesterday. Let's say that. Okay. World Cup. The World Cup, many briberies. To bribe someone is to pay someone in order to get whatever you want. To fight back is when you got into a very unfair situation and you want to fight back. Okay. The retirement, everywhere, Simone, everywhere. Retirement is a big problem because the new generation, they don't work. There are not too many young people. They're very selfish. They don't necessarily want to pay the taxes, and when they do, they don't necessarily declare everything. In America, it's a different system. I know in Europe, it's they depend on the young generations in order to pay the retirement. And in Canada, you save. You spend money on your retirement, so you know that percentage will go to pay your retirement, but it's not enough. You need also some new generations, to work and pay some fees, some cotizations. It's an European terminology. People are, so 66% of the Brazilians born here are poor, and they cannot pay for the retirements. Okay, so the unemployment rate is pretty high. I'm pretty sure most of them will on welfare. So the safety net is quite damaged. Okay, because there's a high percentage of people not working, not willing to work, and because they don't understand the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is, it's not just you, yourself, and yourself. It's also, thinking about, the state of the country. But everyone, if everyone is just like a separate person and be like, you know what, I don't give a damn about my country, I don't give a damn about my neighborhood, or I don't give a damn about my neighbor, it's just myself, okay? And I understand everyone is like that, but at the same time, you cannot also expose yourself and try to be generous for everybody. You're gonna be killed like that, psychologically, emotionally, physically, etc. The thing is, most of the time, you know, that's why you have communities. They work together. People work together in order to achieve something in life, and try to help their community. And I think it's important to work together with other people in order to achieve certain things and try to repair, the state of affair. In America, it's working like that. You have different communities, different people, that try to do things. In Canada as well, you have a lot of stuff like that. I've noticed that in Mexico, you can to a certain extent, but it's more about showing off. I look at my gift, I look at what I'm doing. But they don't really think about the bigger picture. And unfortunately, the country is not in good shape because nobody's working together. And that's why they got screwed over by the conquistadores, a few centuries back, because they had different kings, but nobody was working together. So it's still the same right now. That's why it's important to know about history, to see how people are repeating the past, because human nature is not changing, you see. Anyway, Simone, I'll see you in a few hours. I just owed you just this session. I thought I owed you more, but actually no, because the previous one was about the cold, the flu, and so forth. Okay? So I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye. I hope you're fine.